What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now, Back to the Past. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to take a look back at Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare. This is one that I really wanted to do for this horror month that we have now entered. So the last couple of years on this channel, I've really used it as an opportunity to just do horror games for the entire month of October straight, and that's what we're here to do, starting with this game, moving into Left 4 Dead 2, and then a couple of surprises that I'll leave surprises for right now. And I really wanted to start it with just a classic. I mean, actually, Left 4 Dead 2 is also a classic, but you look at Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare, and one of the better horror games, one of the better zombie games, one of the better DLCs, though, and I think that's the big one. I mean, kind of separate from Halloween and horror month, right? But just one of the better additions to a game that you're ever going to get. Now, it was pricey back when it first came out. If you remember, it was $49.99. So, nowadays, I actually think that's more of like the norm, if not actually more than that for even big DLCs like this. But here's the thing. This game is meaty. Like, it has a lot to it. It really, I think, pushes Red Dead in a nice direction. I would say some of the flaws of Red Dead kind of get shown because of zombies always attacking you. You're kind of on your feet more and running away, and I'll talk about that as this video goes. In a lot of ways, this is just as good as when I first played it. I bought it when it first came out. Of course, remember, it came out back on PS3 and Xbox 360 back October 26, 2010. I'll always have a soft spot for games that are in this genre to come out right around that Halloween time, and how much closer can you get, 5 days before Halloween. But I remember really loving this game. The number one thing I remember with this game is actually the multiplayer, the horde mode, or the multiple waves when you have to burn the coffins. And I remember playing that so much and absolutely loving it. And it's a pro and con, to go back to these type of games nowadays, because some things you can't really do or they're inaccessible. So something like that I wasn't able to experience, but I do want to talk about my experience, and I want to start though because it's a lovely game, okay? It's an amazing game, but the state of the game actually is in a rough spot, at least with kind of the older version. So of course you have like the ports, like new releases that they've done over these past couple years. If you remember, when they did all that just a few years ago, maybe it was even just a year ago at this point, there was a lot of talk around, okay, well, like, is this worth it? And are they actually improving it in any way? And like, what's the best thing to actually get with this game anymore? So at the time, I actually went online and I bought Red Dead Redemption Game of the Year Edition, that Xbox One/360 game. I just bought it from a person online. Honestly, looks very sleek, looks very beautiful, and inside you get the map, and inside you get 2 discs, the first of which is obviously for the Game of the Year edition for the game, and the second disc is for Undead Nightmare, and then the multiplayer, right? So that was kind of regarded as one of like the better, if not maybe the best way of getting the game, at least physically, because it's all there. It's the most accessible. Like, originally I got it on PS3. I actually own Red Dead 1 PS3 version, and then I have Undead Nightmare, I think digitally on PS3, but now I have this. Well, turns out there was actually that headless zombie glitch. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. I certainly learned a lot about it in the last week or so, because it did affect me, and I was very sad about that. I could only make it so far in the game, actually, which was very disappointing to me. But you pop it in, it does work. Now here's the deal. For me, it only worked on my Xbox One. I actually had to pull it out of retirement to play it on Xbox One. These discs, even though I'm pretty sure it's supposed to work on Series X, does not work on Series X. At least not mine. I tried multiple times restarting, turning the power off, changing the disc position multiple times, even though it only works one way. Could not get the thing to work on the Series X. Got it to work on the Xbox One. And then, the game actually was working really well, but I heard of 2 major glitches. Number one is the headless zombie one, which, eventually is just a pain. Technically, you can get through it, but it's actually kind of in collaboration with another one. There's headless zombies, so the head is the best way of taking out a zombie. I'm sure we all know this. Technically, you can take them out multiple times, if you shoot them in the body. Issue is lack of ammo. And then also, if you have a town where you have to kill potentially 30 to 80 zombies without a head, that's going to be very difficult. So that issue started to creep up. I actually played this game, I believe, over 4 days, and each day the game got progressively worse. I think day 1, maybe even day 2 were fine. By the time I kept going, I was advancing the story and all that jazz. By the time I got to day 3 and day 4, headless zombies galore. Saving can stop that from happening, but saving actually activates the next spell trap, which is the screen actually just goes black. The game kind of soft crashes. So when that happens, you have to go back to the dashboard, come back, it'll load up from that save, and you might have 10 minutes where zombies have heads. You might have an hour when zombies have heads. You might have 0 time when zombies have heads, because I did it multiple times, and sometimes the screen would go black. I would reactivate or restart the game, and then immediately the glitch would still be back. So I will say, in terms of that, I mean, maybe it's my own fault, but the thing is, Undead Nightmare is actually, it is kind of a relic. You can get it through like the new ports, but you gotta buy it through like the Red Dead kind of collection. And I own it twice. I own it on PS3, and then I own it physically here. This was the most like easily accessible, and then to know that it's had this issue for I think like 10 years, and people were calling it out on multiple Xbox generations, and it was never fixed. That is disappointing. As for the game itself, though, it is a blast. It is, again, it reminds me of why I had so much fun with it back in the day. It's number one, it's fun to just kind of step back into that time period in this like alternate version. Now, I believe, technically, canonically, it happens before John Marston dies, right? I think it happens a couple months before. But in reality, I like these things. It kind of reminds me of like Mass Effect, like the Citadel DLC, where you throw the party and everybody comes, and it's just, there's actually a lot of theories of like maybe it's kind of the afterlife and Shepard is just a man. And I love, those are really good theories. But, I like the idea of DLCs that come after a game ends, and it kind of has this, gut-punching ending that's just very powerful, which actually Mass Effect 3 and Red Dead have. But then, the DLC technically kind of takes place within it. This one is definitely more of a spin-off, right? This one is, let's kind of do some like classic zombie movie stuff, but let's make a zombie game, and let's just attach it to Red Dead, because, you already have so many things that work so well. Like you have, the Deadeye, and just, the way he uses a gun, horses. So now you have like the 4 horses of the apocalypse. I believe 3 of which you find, and you have to like activate certain things to find them, and then the 4th of which you just get by completing the game. Those are super, super cool. You already have like settlements and side missions and stuff that happen, so it is pretty easy to attach, a zombie game to Red Dead 1, and that's basically what you get, right? You get a lot of returning characters, and they're just as much of a blast. Like it's actually also kind of fun to go back and say, okay, this game is 15 years old and still looks pretty good, and just a lot of the acting and emoting is extremely good. And I did forget, not almost, I forgot just how kind of powerful like you could still do it back in 2010. There is a lot of energy from these characters. John Marston's just fun, and he can be fun in Red Dead, like the base game, of course, but this game lets everybody kind of go a little bit more wild, right? Because nobody really knows what's going on, and there's all these theories as to like why zombies are a thing, and you'll be talking to somebody, they'll turn around and leave you, and then they'll get attacked like within a cutscene, and then they'll just be dead. It's got kind of a campy vibe to it, mixed with some comedy, and then it brings in the other good elements of Red Dead as well, right? Really good side missions, again, side missions that have depth, and then also just cool characters and just like that fun factor. Now, it does lead into maybe a little bit of the weakness, which is it's a rinse and repeat formula, and if there is a disappointment in going back and playing it, that would be the one. Is I actually, whether I didn't realize it because I was 14 years old when this game came out, or whatever it might have been, I didn't realize how rinse and repeat the game is. Like it really is based a lot on going to these settlements, taking out zombies, going up to survivors, giving them things, right, that'll move the meter. Then eventually you'll just have to take out what zombies remain. Then you get your safe house, you get all these chests. Like ammo is tough to come by, so you do have to do these things, so there is pressure there, which I like. There's a obviously day and night cycle, but zombies can retake settlements, so I like that. But at the same time, you travel across a really big amount of the map, and you can't fast travel until you get the beds, and then you have to get to a bed to fast travel to another bed, and then if a civilization or settlement gets attacked, I believe you can't travel back there. You have to pick like a neighboring town and then ride your horse to it. So that becomes tedious. And honestly, well, even some of the campaign, like, there are really fun cutscenes. They bring back kind of fan favorites, and there's a lot of good. I mean, that's the thing, right? A lot of really elite conversations and back and forth with John, and then these characters that you love the interactions with originally in Red Dead. That was a bit more grounded, even though some of them can kind of be silly. It was a different tone. In this way, it kind of lets them be a little bit more playful, which I really love. Okay, so all that stuff is phenomenal, and to be honest with you, it's better than I think I remembered it being. Then you get to, okay, well, what do you actually have to do? Well, that is the rinse and repeat, right? Like, one of them is just going, I believe, to 3 or 4, maybe 4 cemeteries and just burning coffins. So you're doing that's a rinse and repeat type situation, right? And each time kind of is like the special-ish boss that unlocks kind of towards the end of burning the coffins, and you take them out, and on the way, you're going to probably, really the side missions kind of all have the same opener, which is a lot of side missions will take place in a town. And in order to actually do the side mission, you have to free the town. Well, the issue is, like, 9 out of 10 side missions are in a town. So you're going to have to free all these towns, even if you don't want to, right? Maybe you want to ignore that part of the game, because that is the most repetitive. You have to do that in order to do the side missions. So, the thing is, I guess the major weakness of it is, and look, I guess I don't care about the price anymore, because it's been $15, and I guess technically I bought it twice, so I really don't care about the price. But, for that price point, there is a lot of energy to this game, and in a lot of ways I love it. But a lot of the padding, really, like what actually extends this game beyond 2 hours, like anything that takes it beyond 2 hours, is just generally rinse and repeat. Now, the good news is, like, the combat is really good. That's, I guess, something we've kind of ignored. It feels like Red Dead. It's a lot of fun riding a horse. It's a lot of fun shooting things with all different types of guns. Again, the only weakness that really comes up there is zombies are so kind of sporadic. The way they charge you, the way they move around. Red Dead was never the most, and this was something I absolutely forgot, where it's like, okay, he moves more clunky than I remembered. And again, I probably wasn't paying, and it was 15 years ago, and maybe I wasn't paying attention too much, but, whether it's on a horse, or him going up or down a ladder, or him just honestly, this era, really, it was this era, like, moving, like, turning, the turning 90 degrees, turning 180. There's, like, a sway to his movement, where he moves just ever so slightly not the way you want him to move, and it kind of throws you off. Now, mix that in with, like, high-pressure situations where zombies are surrounding you, and you have to get off shots, and you have to be kind of constantly running away from them, and then while also trying to aim for the head, and then that's assuming they have a head in the first place. That can get that in that way, it focuses more on the negative of Red Dead, which is that more kind of clunky movement and aiming type system. It works like 80% of the time, but when it fails, it kind of fails in like more high pressure, like faster tempo situations. And the issue is because there's so many undead and they're right up in your face versus, humans are not as much like that. There's not as many and they're not up in your face. So that kind of highlights like that major weakness of even the base game of Red Dead Redemption. So wasn't a fan of that, but generally, like, it feels good. It's a tough thing where it feels like it's 15 years old gameplay wise, while also in some ways not feeling as old. Like it has kind of a welcoming vibe to it where I feel like you could pick this game up at any point. And I haven't played this game. By the way, I haven't played Undead Nightmare, I believe, since it came out. I played the multiplayer a ton. I played the single player, but I don't think I've played it in almost 15 years. So to be able to go back in, it really felt like I remember the opening, and that was awesome to see again. It's like it just felt like you're returning home, and it feels good to a degree. And then you also kind of think, oh, there's that jank that I kind of forgot, the game has. But overall, an awesome game. I would stand by everybody somebody that's always said, you know, it's one of the best DLCs to ever come out. I mean, it's attached to one of the best games that have ever come out, so maybe that elevates it a little bit, but it has a lot of good in it, and there's a little jank, and yeah, you know, the bugs, definitely the Xbox version, maybe don't do it on that, but I mean, again, like, that's just, I wasn't going to buy it, like, a third time, or for $50 to do the port, because I do think the port and the new version of it, like, it comes with Undead Nightmare, and I believe the, all those issues of the headless zombies and stuff, I believe they are patched, but I don't know, I already own it 2 times, I don't want to get it a third time, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.